Hey traders, David Frost, my strategic forecast. You're here for another episode of Common Sense Market Analysis. Today is Tuesday, March 28, 2023. We are looking at a daily chart of the SPY or Spider, which is the proxy for the S&P 500. What do we have on the docket today? First and foremost, I'm going to show you something very interesting, not necessarily from the bearish camp, but from the bullish camp. We'll get to that later. In addition, I'm going to show you how traders inside the numbers and specifically in the live room today made money. It was certainly a something for everybody type of situation. Let's start off with the daily chart. What's jumping off the page at us? Well, nothing happened today. The market was mainly flat from open to close, narrow ranging day for the most part. They didn't get very far, but there were trades to be had. They're sitting on top of the convergence of these moving averages here. It's the 20 underneath and the 100 above. They rallied to close back above that. However, since the market has been back and through those moving averages several times, they're really diminished from an importance standpoint. What could we say about the daily chart? They're basically eating time off the clock, building energy to make a move. Now, is the move going to be down or is the move going to be up? From current price, we don't know. They're in somewhat of a middle of the range. Remember, our trend line is the Irene bogey below 390, and it opens the door for the trend line. So that is considered pre-Irene. And this is in the bearish camp. We also have a series of lower highs. You have a high, you have a lower high, and thus far you have a third lower high. So until or unless they can eclipse that third lower high on the upside, nothing doing. Now, a little while ago I mentioned I'm going to show you something interesting, and it happens to be in the bull camp. We're the umpire. We're calling balls and strikes. We're looking at the market objectively saying, is there a bull case? What is it? Is there a bear case? What is it? We know the bear case below 390 and then below Irene, which is our trend line. That's the bear case. But what happens if they go the other way? What's the bull case, and what am I looking at to determine anything on the chart that might give us a hint/clue? What if I look at the 240-minute chart? It stretches the daily out a little bit. It gives us more of a clear picture of what I'm going to show you. What if we had one of these? There's a trend line connecting this pivot top to this pivot top. Fair enough, but does that represent anything else? Well, here's something that could be in the making. It's not here yet, and I'll explain that in a moment, but why can't this be a left shoulder? This is an inverse, a potential inverse head and shoulders pattern. This being the head, and this being the right shoulder down to here. Now, it's not completed. It's not baked enough in the oven. It doesn't trigger until they get above this neckline here. So there's some ways to go. They have to get above 400 and change in order to make this thing happen. They're not that close, but they're not that far away. We don't anticipate or guess that they're going to complete the head and shoulders or inverse head and shoulders pattern. It's something that I'm noticing that could be in development, so I want to bring it to your attention so that if they did go up there, we're aware that A, there would be a bull-bear battle at that place, and B, if they got through that place, a la the neckline, that could produce a whopper of a squeeze in the upward direction. Now, I'm going to flip around a little bit, so I'm going to take some of these lines off the chart. Back on the daily chart, we're going to take a look at this big breakdown candle high that they have yet to be able to get above and close above. The high is 401.48, and if we just put a line in, a horizontal line at that price, 401.48, and we flip back over to the 240 to look at what we were just looking at, you can see that if the market got back up there, it's pretty close to that breakdown candle high area, and if they get above that, forget the inverse head and shoulders pattern. It won't really matter. What I'm giving you is another way to look at the chart using a different type of methodology. In fact, using two specific types of strategies slash methodologies or chart stuff, whatever you want to call it. Technical analysis. A, that's a magnetic place up there with this stuff going on. B, if they get above, it's going to produce a whopper of a squeeze operation. You know, the kind that issues a whole conveyor belt of pies in the face. We don't know they're going to do this. This is something you have to watch out for. If the market is up in this general zone, that's what we're going to be looking at. I'm giving you the information in advance. Don't know they will be up there. It's an if they are up there. Put it on a sticky note. Let's check out inside the numbers. This is going to be fun. There were a lot of traders, whether inside the numbers or in the live room, that made money today a lot of different ways. Let's turn around Tuesday, pause the video, read the notes, go back to the chart to double check the work. The bull variety came in at 397.40. If they got above 399, the flip side is 394.65. That's the bear variety. This is on the board at 0 dark 30. Snapshot, we think better in pictures. Right at the vertical is today's activity. They never got to the higher number, the 397.40. However, you see this line here, the horizontal line at 394.65. You'll see I moved it up just a few pennies when you get to the real-time data in the notes. But keep in mind, this was on the board at, yes, 0 dark 30. Let's see what else we have as the day starts to get underway. So 9:15, what's the scoop? Where are the trades if they exist today? What am I putting forth for Inside the Number members and live room members? Let's keep it simple. There's a buy for a bounce on the board. The first place is 394.70. You already saw that. And by the way, again, 9:15 in the morning before the opening bell. Next number, 393.95. How you doing? All this stuff before the opening bell. But wait, there's more. Right around and before the opening bell, I said to traders in the room, it was a little bit higher risk, but I said, there's a pretty good chance they're going to bounce the tape at 395, give or take. It wasn't my number, this is what I said, but it was a pretty good chance based on, I've seen this before, not my first rodeo, in that kind of camp. And lo and behold, they bounced the tape at 395 before they came back down to the number. So we had traders in the room that took this trade. They got a nice profit. Then we had traders that took the trade from inside the numbers and the live room at 394.65. They got that profit. And then later on, some of us hit one more for an afternoon delight. By the way, resistance is 396.50. Look up top. High of day, 396.49. There are no accidents nor coincidences. Question, do you think you can benefit from this information during the trading day? All this was put up on the board before the opening bell. After the opening bell, you can see here I'm saying 394.70 is still the number. They've bounced the tape at 395. And once they bounce the tape, 396.50 becomes the target. Pause the video, read the notes, go back to the chart to double check the work. Let's see what else we have as the day continues on. All the short-term numbers are on the board. You can pause the video and read them for yourself. They start to come down a little bit, 1025 below 395.50. The door opens for the lows and so on. Still 394.70 is that bounce back area. Still a buy for a bounce back. And of course, they did it about 10 minutes later. 10:34, showtime for the Bulls to play defense and bounce the tape for a scalp with potential. 394.70 hit and spike. The next number down, if they went, would be 393.95. That creates a zone. It's a pretty narrow zone. They went there later for another trade for some of us. Pause the video, read the notes, go back to the chart to double check the work. Again, very slow. You've got the numbers. This is 11 o'clock. I'm going to take a break. If they go lower, 393.95. 393.95. Funny how that works. Pause them, read them, go back to the chart, and double check the work. This takes us up a little bit farther. The zone is 393.95 down to 393.30. They're here. see the 1057 post. And that's it into the end of the day. They gave you the bounce. They gave you the scalp with potential. Few traders emailed me, got a Whopper Jr. out of it. About stocks on the move. Only had two on the board today. We had Fox A and STX, Seagate. Seagate hit its number. We'll take a look at that chart, plus a couple more. STX, Seagate, getting its haircut at the opening bell. 59.38 was the number. They spike the number. They rip it back up in the other direction. They give you the trade. Base hit. Base hits put you in the Hall of Fame. In fact, they gave you more than the base hit. Significantly more. Then we had a couple that came up after the opening bell that the members in the live room brought to my attention. We did the work, we did the numbers, and many of them got the trade. What was the first one? Long story short, we had two numbers in Futu. Mine was 44.80. Then we had another one lower in the spirit of a gap down below at 44. They came up short of that, but both basically worked. They hit my number to the penny and bounced. We had traders that were long in the room from 44.80, the low 44.80, low 44.81, high here 45.62. That's a base hit, nice trade. This was getting smashed, kind of a woodshed type of day for Futu. Then we had another trader in the room, brought Apple to my attention. Is there a trade in Apple? Where is support? About 156.30. How about it worked? Nice trade. Question. Do you think anybody's making money inside the numbers and in the live room? It's what they call a rhetorical question. What's going on over in Camp IWM? Anything happened today? No, they were flat on the day. Any change from yesterday? No, they're just eating time off the clock. It was what we call an inside day. Inside day meaning the high of today and the low of today were inside yesterday's high and low. Can you derive any information from an inside day? And the answer is no, you can't. You just move it along. What about the folks down at the transportation department? They had a little bit of an up day, a little relative strength, but they're still in the same range we discussed last night. Until they break out of this range, and this is a hypothesized range, once they break out of this range, whether it be in the upward direction or the downward direction, all this energy that they're building up by eating time off the clock and going sideways back and forth will be released in one direction or the other. Write that down, put it on a sticky note. What about the Q people? Little bit of a down day, less than 0.5%, not a big deal. Above all the moving averages, the trend is your friend until she throws your shit out the window. That's a big spot right there. That's the last breakout area in the sequence. They kind of ran a test of it today, somewhat. They didn't actually get there. They stayed away. That's kind of bullish. But if they get below, you can count on price getting into these moving averages down to about the 298, 299 level. You want to put this one on a sticky note, 298.95. That's the calculator number. Could they bounce the tape when they get to 300? Of course they could. My number is 298.95. Put it on a sticky note. Anything doing with the financials today? Well, since they were down 3 cents, no, there's nothing doing with the financials today. And that's actually the after hours quote. I think they might have been up or down a penny from yesterday's close. No big deal either way. Same routine. They're just eating time off the clock. They're either going to fill this gap down here at 31, give or take, or they're going to challenge the high of this breakdown candle up near 32. That's it. They're in the middle of the range, and you don't know which way they're going to go first. Smash Mouth, little bit of a down day. They were down more earlier, but they did recover. What they did was run a test of the 20-period moving average. That's it. They bounced off of it. Above all the moving averages, the trend is your friend until it's not. Sticky note material, 241.95 is a bounce place in the SMH if they do come down. Below that, 237.60. Write that down, put it on a sticky note. Hey, have I told you how much I appreciate each and every one of you? Without you, these videos are not possible. That is true and accurate information. We're pulling the ripcord here today. I'm David Frost, my strategic forecast. Thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Common Sense Market Analysis.